So how do you do radical expressions? That sounds difficult, isn't it? Hi, I'm Jimmy Chang. I've been teaching college mathematics for 9 years, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips as to how to solve and evaluate radical expressions. Now I'm going to break it up into two cases, one involving numbers and one involving variables. Now, if you know how to do them separately, you should be able to know how to do them together as well. So here's an example involving numbers. Suppose you have the square root of, let's just say 18, and you want to evaluate the square root of 18. Well, one quick way to do it involves knowledge of your multiplication tables. Now what you want to do is pick a couple of numbers that you know multiply to give you 18. So one list might be 6 and 3, 9 and 2, and of course 18 and 1. Now, out of these three numbers, think about which pair has what's called a perfect square. Now, a perfect square meaning what number, when you square itself, gives you that number. So, for example, is a number squared going to give you 6? Nope. The same thing you can say for 3. No number squared gives you 3. No number squared gives you 2, but 9 is a perfect square because 3 times 3, 3 squared gives you 9. So that is the one pair that we'll work with. Now, break up the 18 into 9 times 2, and there is a square root rule or a radical rule that lets you break up this expression as two separate ones. In other words, you can rewrite this as square root of 9 times the square root of 2. Now, square root of 9 is obviously 3, but square root of 2, you can't break that up any further than what you already have. Now, here's an example involving variables. Suppose you want to find out the cube root of, let's just say, x to the 8th. Now, if you know your long division, figuring this out is very straightforward. The 3 goes on the outside, dividing into the exponent you see here. 3 goes in 8 how many times? 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Remainder, 2. Now, this 2 is the exponent that goes on the outside, and this remainder 2 is the exponent that stays on the inside. In other words, cube root of 8 means the cube root, the x squared goes on the outside, and this 2 is the exponent that stays on the inside. So you now have cube root of x to the 8th is equal to x squared cube root of x squared. So, I'm Jimmy, and that gives you a glimpse as to how to simplify radical expressions.